What up, guys? Welcome back to Garage Talk. Today's episode, we're talking Yeti SB130 lunch ride. This is a buddy's bike. You guys haven't seen the video yet. I did do a video on his Yeti SB150, which has in turn transformed into this bike. He actually sold that frame, picked up a 130, and now he just sold it to another buddy of mine, Dave. Shout out to Dave. This is going to be Dave's new frame. Dave has a Cane Creek coil that he's going to put on this bike. He's going to be running a Fox 36. Today we're running a Fox 38 and a DPX2. This bike is actually going to turn into an Evil offering that my buddy Nick just got from Bauerhaus. He ordered it. Hopefully it should be here soon, and then I can hopefully sweet talk him into letting me ride that thing. So, which would be really cool, because if you guys don't know, I own an Evil following. Been really excited to ride the Evil offering. Anyways, yeah, back to the 130. I don't have a ton of time on Yetis. Just never really had an opportunity to ride many of them. So really stoked to take this one out, see what it can do. This is kind of more my style of bike. The 150, I know a lot of people commented on that video. They're like, dude, the trail you took that bike on is for like XC bikes. And it's like, it's why I ride a 120 travel following. I mean, I agree with them, because a lot of the stuff around here, a 150 is just way overkill. But I'd rather be packing around the extra travel and not need it than not have it and need it. So take that for what it's worth. But this is going to be more my style of bike. I'm more interested in, I really wanted to ride this in like the stock configuration, the 130, 150, just because that's more my style. The way he's got this set up, it's pretty burly. He's got the 137 rear travel, 160 Fox 38 up front. So big burly fork on the front of this thing, gonna be super stiff up front. DPX2, I don't have a lot of time on that shock, so we'll see. I've mostly been on a rock shock setup for the last few years, so be interesting to get on this. I have ridden the Fox 38 before. One of the first forks from Fox that I've liked in a long time. Liked it a lot better than the 36. DPX2, I haven't been on that. He's running full axis, E-wing cranks, XT pedals, SRAM axis all the way around, XO1. Got my favorite tire on there, DHR2s, front and rear, 2.4 front, 2.3 rear. Yeah, other than that, she's fucking pretty dialed. So let's cut to the chase and get out on the trail. Yeah, we're up at Bogus. Right out the gate, body position feels so much better than the Nick's 150 that he had. This geometry feels, honestly, it feels really similar to my following. Just feels slightly longer in the wheelbase. But other than that, it feels really good. Just initial impressions right on the, oh yeah, she picks up speed real nice. Yeah, right out the gate, man. I love the body position. We're running cockpit M7 carbon bar, M7 carbon stem, 35 mil. I'm about 5'10", riding a medium. Right off the bat, you notice pedaling support. That is the first thing I noticed. As you hammer on those pedals, you feel that energy just transferring right through these Cane Creek cranks and right into that rear wheel. You really feel zero energy loss. 31 pounds, 12 ounces, as is with pedals. So I definitely wouldn't want any heavier. Uphill switchbacks, no problem at all. Doesn't feel too, too sluggish on this mellow stuff. Like
like the 150 did. It definitely feels just kind of muted and lazy, just because it's not designed for this type of stuff. But that's definitely why I would take this bike over the 150. All right, we're gonna get into one of my favorite trails down here. It's called Mahalo. And I did want to say, I noticed how quickly this bike gets up to speed. And I think that's due to a really smart tire spec in these DHRs. And a really lightweight wheel set I haven't touched on is the Bontrager Elite Pro Carbons. They are, ooh, nice, almost NV light, and killer engagement, about 108. Great sounding hub. I like a loud hub. Lets people know you're coming. And yeah, this is feeling good. But yeah, really lightweight tire setup. And this thing gets around those little tight sections really nicely. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, that 38 over those things just eats it for lunch. I don't know, Dave. I might tell Nick I'm buying this thing. This thing is rad. Freaking hauls ass. Whew, that was a little tight. I've heard mixed opinions on this Fox DPX2. I think it's great. I've got no issues with it right now. I had Nick set up the suspension per Yeti's recommendations for my weight, and it feels spot on. Here's a tight little guy. This bike just gets with the program, especially on this type of stuff. This is killer. Freaking love this trail. Man, you can just really trust these DHR2s. I know I keep talking about them, but tires are big on my channel. Yeah, man, this bike is just awesome. Ooh, nice engagement, good suspension. I probably wouldn't have made that at that speed on any other bike. I usually have to carry a lot of speed into that, and I definitely was going too slow. At the beginning of this ride, I'd have said Fox 38 overkill for this bike. I don't know, it feels really good. If I own this bike, I'd probably spec it with I'd probably start with the 150 Lyric up front and Super Deluxe out back, 130. But I don't know. I don't know if there'd be any drawbacks to going to this lunch ride. I'd probably still run a Lyric and a Super Deluxe, but yeah, Fox stuff feels good today. All right, just climbed out of Mahalo. I really don't have anything bad to say about this bike other than a little bit heavy. If it were mine, I'd try to shave a pound off this thing, and I think it'd be pretty dialed. I really like, my last three bikes have been VPP and Delta, low slung shocks. And I really prefer the weight balance and kind of the side to side in corners. That lower link shock keeps that weight down low, and it makes the bike feel lighter than it is. So I've had my following up to 30, 31 pounds, and it definitely rides lighter than this bike. But once this thing gets going, you don't really notice it. Yeah, I kind of find myself really getting out over the front of this bike, and holy crap, that thing has so much traction on the front end. I know that's kind of how you're supposed to ride these bikes, but yeah. This bike puts you in such a unique position when you're going downhill and going through corners and berms. It just naturally, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you got to get out over the front of these bikes. It just kind of naturally puts you right in that position. And the front end traction on this thing is probably the best I've ever ridden. I've heard a lot of people say Yetis can ride kind of harsh. I wouldn't necessarily say harsh is the best word. I think it gives you a lot of feedback. And, you know, to someone who likes knowing exactly what their bike is doing underneath them, that's a great thing. You know, I can feel that this bike is not harsh, but I can feel it. I can feel every crevice of the trail. I can feel everything that the suspension's doing underneath me, but in the most positive way. Really let you know just exactly what's going on. Really like it. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I might be drinking the Kool-Aid after this ride.
All right, Yeti SB130 lunch ride. Yeah, blown away by that bike. Yeah, it's a bummer that I didn't ask Nick to demo this bike a little bit earlier, because I probably would have bought it before he asked Dave. That bike is sick. Like, yeah, I don't know. I was never been a Yeti guy. Just haven't had any opportunities to ride them, and I've always heard things about them. They obviously have a great reputation, but it was never kind of like anything that really sparked my interest. And I should have ridden one a long time ago, because man, that thing just gets with the program. That's a bike I would own. It's got everything that I would want in a bike. The pedaling efficiency just feels better than anything I've rode. This bike is really good in the pedaling department, especially with the rear shock. You can kind of give it a little bit of compression, and it's pretty close, but it just doesn't have that Yeti feel. Yeah, I like fast, efficient bikes. I'm not a huge, even though I do ride an Evo, I'm not like a big cutty, jumping, all kinds of crazy shit like that. Like the Yetis kind of have, or the Evos kind of have a mantra of just being, you know, get to the top and just absolutely shred the gnarliest lines you can. Like, to me, the Yeti felt more like a point A to point B as fast as possible. And that's kind of the rider that I am. I'm a little bit XC, a little bit trail, a little bit, not really enduro, but just more trail. You know, I do like to be fast and efficient like an XC, but I also like to have a bike that's capable enough to have fun and feel safe. So that 130 lunch ride kind of hits everything right on the mark for me. So the only negatives I would say is the build that I did ride was a little bit heavy. I prefer something a little bit lighter, but not that big of a deal. As soon as it started rolling, I honestly didn't even really notice it, and it felt almost as fast as this bike. Like, and this is quite a few pounds lighter. But yeah, so the only other negative that, so I went down some trails after the video. I didn't put the video up of it, but there's a jump line on some of these trails up at Bogus, and it just wasn't a very enticing bike to go off the lip. I'm so used to the Evil going off a jump, it really wants to pop off that jump, and it has a lot of pop out of corners. Whereas I didn't feel that sensation with the Yeti as much. Like, it just felt kind of like you just go off the jump instead of it like springing off the jump. But yeah, it wasn't as poppy and like bouncy. Like the Evil is real, you know, wants to move around, wants to pop, wants to do all that stuff. That the Yeti, I didn't feel that. So that would take a little bit getting used to for me. I think I could get used to it, but yeah, that's the only negative is the weight, and jumping it might take me a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you guys have one, if you guys think it jumps well. But I think that's maybe something you could adjust with suspension a little bit, rebound and compression. You might be able to get a little bit more pop out of it, but this is about the poppiest bike I've ever rode in my life. It's super fun, but man, I don't know, the pedaling efficiency is kind of what got me on that bike yesterday. So cool. Really appreciate you guys checking out my video and taking the time to sit down with me and talk bikes. If you guys have any questions, put it down in the comments. I'll get to you guys' questions as soon as I can. Like and subscribe if you can. Helps me. If you like what you see, it really helps me out. And thank you guys again for your time. And we will see you on the next episode of MTB Garage Talk. We'll see you later. Peace.